Across many spiritual traditions, people describe a mysterious inner force, a dormant energy that rests deep within the body, often symbolically described as a coiled serpent of awareness, sleeping at the base of the spine. And when life begins dissolving the identities we once relied on, when old beliefs crack open, when the mind begins searching for deeper truth, many people interpret the sensations that follow as the awakening of that energy, not as something dramatic, not as something supernatural, but as an inner transformation that the body sometimes feels before the mind understands. It doesn't arrive with certainty. It arrives with sensations, with emotions. With quiet signals, the body begins to whisper. And if these signals have started appearing for you, you may already be in the early stages of something profound. Let's talk about the experiences. People often notice, first, symptom 1, a subtle heat or pressure at the base of the spine. Many people report feeling something unusual near the lower spine. A warmth, a pulse, a gentle pressure, just noticeable. Almost like a quiet ember glowing beneath the surface. Psychologically, this can appear during periods of deep emotional change. When survival patterns begin loosening, when the nervous system slowly releases tension that has been held for years. Symbolically, spiritual traditions describe this sensation as energy beginning to stir from its dormant state, not rising all at once, but awakening slowly, like a spark testing the air after a long sleep. Symptom 2, sudden waves of emotional release. Another experience many people describe as emotional intensity, unexpected sadness, sudden compassion, moments of deep vulnerability. It can feel confusing, but psychologically, transformation often requires old emotional material to surface. Memories, unprocessed feelings, hidden fears. Symbolically, many people interpret this as the heart-opening chambers that have been sealed for years, as if layers of emotional armor are quietly dissolving. And once those layers loosen, the feelings underneath finally have room to move. Symptom 3, strange sensations along the spine. Some people describe tingling or subtle currents moving along their back. Others describe a feeling like quiet electricity rising upward. These sensations may come and go, appearing briefly, then disappearing. Psychologically, this can happen when awareness becomes more sensitive to internal sensations. Your nervous system begins noticing signals that were previously ignored. Symbolically, many traditions interpret this as energy gradually traveling upward through different layers of consciousness, not forcing its way, but gently exploring. Symptom 4, unusual fatigue or need for solitude. You may find yourself needing more rest than usual, or craving silence. Crowded environments suddenly feel overwhelming. Conversations that once entertained you may now feel draining. Psychologically, this can happen when the brain begins reorganizing identity. Old priorities fade, new questions emerge. Symbolically, many people see this phase as the inner self retreating temporarily to rebuild, like a caterpillar withdrawing before transformation. The world outside grows quieter because something inside you is becoming louder. Symptom 5, heightened sensitivity. You may notice your senses becoming sharper. Music feels deeper. Nature feels more alive. Certain environments suddenly feel heavy or uncomfortable. Psychologically, awareness is expanding. You're perceiving emotional and sensory information that once passed unnoticed. Symbolically, many traditions interpret this as consciousness becoming more awake to subtle energies. The world hasn't changed, but your perception of it has. Symptom 6, the feeling that your old life no longer fits. This may be the most unsettling experience. One day you'll look at your routines, your goals, your identity, and something feels different. Not wrong, just incomplete. The life you built once made sense, but now it feels like a story you've already read. Psychologically, this is often the moment when identity transformation becomes visible. You begin questioning roles you once accepted without hesitation. Symbolically, this stage is often described as the unmasking of the self, the moment when the version of you built from expectations begins to loosen, and beneath it, something more authentic begins to breathe. The archetypal transformation final 2 to 3 minutes. If you recognize these experiences in your life, it may mean something extraordinary is unfolding beneath the surface. Because what many people call Kundalini Awakening is not really about energy alone. It's about identity, the slow dismantling of the self you were taught to become, the roles you learned to play, the emotional defenses you built to survive, the expectations you carried for years without questioning. And when those layers begin dissolving, it can feel uncomfortable, confusing, even disorienting. But symbolically, many traditions describe this stage as the rebirth of awareness, not the creation of someone new, but the return of something ancient within you. Something quieter, something truer, something that existed long before the world told you who you were supposed to be. The sensations, the emotions, the strange shifts in perception, they may simply be signs that the inner self is reclaiming space. Resolution: if this journey has begun for you, take a breath. Slow down. Listen carefully to your inner signals, because awakening rarely arrives with fireworks. It arrives in subtle moments, in quiet sensations, in the feeling that your old identity is slowly dissolving. You are not broken. You are not losing control. You may simply be waking up to parts of yourself that were hidden for a very long time. An awakening is not something that happens to everyone at the same moment. For some people, it begins exactly when they are ready to see the truth. If this message resonated with you, share your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else understand what they're going through. And if you feel called to explore this journey deeper, subscribe to the channel, because there are many more layers to awakening. And what comes next is something most people are never told about.